Hello guys. This is my second video. Uh, I have recorded the first video where I have explained that how data view function work. So as you can see that I have a simple function, my function, it taking one argument and I'm just converting that argument to uppercase. Okay, and this is my function. This is my function calling and this is my function declaration and definition. Okay, but in this video I'm going to explain how we can create a recursive function in DataView. So actually, you know that DataView is very strong language in MuleSoft and Mule4. It's kind of inbuilt DataView language. It's support for all kind of operation, all kind of transformation. We are doing a kind of transformation. So we kind of requirement that we have to do something in a recursive way. So that's why I'm going to explain that how you will create a recursive function. So let's get started. So as you can see that in my data view editor, I have one function. My function name is recursive function, and I'm calling a recursive function. I'm passing a 3 to recursive function as an argument, and I'm kind of printing 0 1 2 3. So basically what condition I returned that key I am going to call the recursive function until my current element value not be 0. Once it is 0, then it is exit. So we all must know that in the recursive function we have to define the exit condition. If you're not able to define the exit condition then you will receive a stack overflow error because the recursive function uses stack, and how it will use a stack I am going to explain you. Okay, so let's get show you. So what happened here, I'm kind of providing a 3 here. It is accepting a 3, argument value is 0, no condition is false. Let's go to the else part. So as you can see that I am calling a function again, but this time I'm not passing a 3, I'm passing a 2. So whatever operation, whatever kind of statement we have after function calling, as you can see that this after plus plus we have a kind of statement, it should execute, but before that we have called function. So when this will be executed, so this will be executed later, and this particular operation will be saved in the stack. So let me show you. In the first iteration we have a 3, the 3 will be saving into that particular statement with which argument having 3 state saved in the stack. So as you can see that I am kind of showing a kind of a stack. This is my stack. In the stack, as you can see that we have a statement, this should be executed, and this is the statement stored in the stack. Okay, we passing a 2. 2 is equals to 0, condition false, then it will go to the below and it call again recursive function. This time we are passing 1. So and this time the current value of argument is 2. So this operation also stored in the stack. So as you can see that in the second iteration we stored this particular expression in the stack. Okay, argument value is 1 is equals to 0, no, condition is false, then it condition false, then else block will be executed, and this time we are passing a kind of 0 to this, and we are kind of storing our current value of argument is 1. We are kind of storing in the stack. So as you can see that in the stack we have a 3 expression which need to be executed. Okay, so when it will be executed, when the current recursive function condition will be executed, then those stack operation will be executed. So current argument we are passing a 0, 1 minus 1 0. So this condition is true, then it will return 0. So you will get 0 at first, then the remaining operation which stored in the stack, those will be pop up. So as you know that stack perform in last in first out. So whose kind of element added in the last, that element basically pop up first. So basically the last element is 1, that's why you are able to see 1. After that 2, this operation, and this particular element, this particular expression will be pop up, and the last 3. So as you can see that that's how we have a recursive function, and whatever operation we have after recursive function, whatever operation we want to execute, that those operation will be those kind of statement and expression will be stored in the stack. Let me show you another example. Okay, Yeah, so basically we have a same function, and this time we have uh, do the operation first before calling of the recursive function. So there is no operation after recursive function, so there is no operation stored in the stack. Just that's why you're able to it to do first this operation and then calling a recursive function. So that's why you're able to see 3 first, because we don't have any remaining operation. That's why we are able to print 3 2 1. But in our previous example, we calling a recursive function first, then we are doing a remaining operation. But here we are doing the operation first and we are calling a recursive function. That's why you're able to see 3 2 1. So this is kind of very simple example. I have taken how we will create a recursive function in data view. As you can see that the if function call itself, we have a recursive function, this function calling itself, then it is a recursive function, and the exit condition is very much important in the recursive function. So let me show you third example. So guys, this is kind of very important that normally I'm using this kind of recursive calling for my every example, and this give me kind of advantage to change anything on field label and value label. Let me show you what actually it is does. So currently I'm creating a kind of mapping object. As you can see that the function name is mapping object, so it is only iterate over object, it will not iterate over array. Means for example, if you provide like this, it will not iterate over array. You will get exception that because map object, because whatever data we are passing here from payload to data, the data we apply map object, but it is a payload. So that's why I've created a function like mapping object. It basically iterate over object. So as you can see that I have applied match condition in my previous video. Data view function, I have also explained the match statement. Just check the below link I am going to provide, so you will understand match statement. So we are kind of iterating over object, and field by field we are checking that in the object. Let me show you. For example, like array, this will be array, will be get 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, so and we can also get object name sake. Okay, comma, yes, comma, remove object number 1 comma, let me check what error it is. The you called function map object on this argument. Let me check why it is failing. Okay, I will explain later. Okay, so as you can see that we have a kind of object here, and the object we have like object name and message. Okay, so I think it is something value dollar map. Okay, so as you can see that uh, I am kind of iterating over that. So in first iteration it will give me this, and second iteration it will provide me this. Okay, so I'm checking that key. If my this is object, then I'm calling again. If it is this key value pair, then I'm calling again, right? So this is what I'm doing. If any point of time, if I need to change any key, for example, I want to replace a name. So this is I don't know that key, the name is coming from input, but I want to replace the name with first name. The key name should be changed. So I can check that, for example, if condition here. Okay, if condition here, if key equal to name, then it should be first name, else other key is coming, those can part of the key. So as you can see that I am checking if key is coming kind of name, I know that it is coming only at kind of the value is type not object. As we can see that it is not object, it is not array, it is a simple else condition. That's why I apply the condition here. I am checking that if the key I am going to get name, then it should be first name, else it is a key. So as you can see that it is only converted the first name, all remaining things are same. So this is a kind of give me a control over my iteration, that key at any point of time I can change any key, any point of time I can change any value. For example, message, so I want to change, if this is condition come, then I can apply one more condition like that key. If the key is come message, then I will convert to the capital M. Yes, so this way we can do that. uh, so let me show you another example. Okay, so using this we have got some requirement that we have a kind of label. As you can see that the first is kind of single label. Under name we have first name, this is a double label. Under degree we have a CSE, under CSE we have a IT. Okay, third label. As you can see that the location under name first label, location under country second label, and location country name fourth label, location country name state name fifth label. So we have a label, and I have got requirement that key the last key value pair. Key value means key is a string and value is also a string. I want like that in a full path. For example, district. We know that districts come under location, country, state, and district. So what I have done, I have used the same function here, as you will see that, and I'm calling a function again. So every time I have passed payload here, I pass double quotes, means this is my kind of parent. Parent is always a kind of empty, and then I'm passing a parent key. So every time I'm iterating, I'm appending a parent key. I'm appending a parent key with key and passing over again. So it will be basically changing the key. Changing the key dynamically. What I'm changing, the whatever parent key I have, I can provide a parent key plus forward slash everywhere at three places. So that's why you are able to see that those are the output of mine. Key, the key and value string and a single label, and it is also letting me know that key where it is coming from. For example, name is coming from where. It is coming from under location under country, state, and name. This is how I have done. The one of the requirement is coming in my project. Okay, so the third example, let me show you. So I have created one image for that. um, okay, so let me show you that image. So in this image, you're able to see that we have a Dems having three child, Clan having two child, and Paul having three child. So this is the kind of hierarchy, parent-child hierarchy, and the same hierarchy we are getting in the JSON here. For example, Dems having two child, Clan having one, two, three child, Stephen, Clan child is another child is Stephen. Okay, right. So those are the requirement I have got. So basically, and I have to iterate every parent child, and I have to get those parent child in a single label. How? This is a single label. But what we are getting a kind of hierarchy here. But what we need to convert? We need to convert all those parent child in a single label. How exactly? For example, ID1, name is Dance. Parent ID is -1, means it is root parent. ID2, name is John. The parent ID is 1. What does it mean? It means that the parent ID1, the ID1 is a parent of John. So we simply kind of verify that the parent ID1, we need to check that whose ID is 1. The Dame's ID is 1. So ultimately, John parent is Dame's. Okay, so this is, so from I have converted this kind of requirement where I have a Dames having two child, Clan having multiple childs. So how exactly it will be look like below. Okay, so it is a very simple condition. I have just created one traverse function. Okay, I'm passing a payload and -1. I'm kind of putting that key, so whosoever your parent, just put -1. Okay, so it will, I'm simply checking that key particular item here. This is my first item. I'm checking that key whether it has children or not. Yes, if it is a children, then I am kind of pending a current information, current element information along, and I'm calling a traversing function again. Okay, so firstly I've called this. If it is a children, then I'm calling a recursive function. I'm passing a children information. Okay, so I called recursive function and passing children information. So okay, so whatever operation, we don't have any operation after traverse function. So basically this data is always be appending. So as you can see that first it append this, and we are checking a Dame's child. Why we are checking this child? Dame's is a current item, and we are passing a recursive function that please check how many child of Dame's having. So we are kind of applying a iterator over that. And once we got a item which don't have any child, then else log is executing. Else log is nothing but showing the current. So we will be iterating till all element whose don't have a child, right? So that's how we have done a kind of traversing from parent to child using recursive. Without recursive it is not possible, because we don't know that how much hierarchy we will have. As you can see that we have a first, second, third and fourth. It can be any label 6, 7, 8, because it is not expected. But using with the help of traversing function, we are able to traverse dynamically like that. So as you can see that in the code you are getting a data here. Let me show you. Okay, so this is a let me show you why what actually data here is do. So basically it give me a data at every label inside the hierarchy, but I need to put all kind of element information at the same label. That's why I'm calling a dot dot data. So as you can see that it is give me information. Okay, so that is all about from my side. This is a kind of recursive function explanation using a stack. So whatever operation we have after recursive function call, those will be saved in the stack. If we are not putting a condition, okay, so we will get a stack overflow error. Why? Because we have not provided exit condition. So guys, it is very much important that we have to provide exit condition. So this is all about from my side, how to create recursive function in data view. We will meet soon with my next video. Bye.